Ehulelelelelele la oh. Hulele. Ehulele, hulele. Ehulelelelelele nge oh. Hulele. Hulele, hulele. Ange abaya. Freedom lanalodium glorious. Ambazonia. We are crying. We are crying for our freedom. Annexation like its brother apartheid is a crime against humanity. Be it blacks by black, or blacks by white, our father. Ehulelelelelele yumuyo. Nyamo. Hulele. Hulele. What have we done to the world? To the United Nations, African Union, ECOWAS and Commonwealth, Taroro Nye. Cameroon have turned our fathers into boys, our mothers to girls. They rape, maim, kill women and children, our father. Ehulelelelelele la oh. Hulele. The Barefoot Soldiers are in line with Dr. Cho Ayabae to defend our land, protect our women and children, Taroro Nye. Ehulelelelelele Benedikwao, the biggest bad boss. We are united in this struggle. Good evening, fellow Ambazonians. You are welcome to this edition of the Barefoot Soldier. This is thinking time. I'm begging you all, fellow Ambazonians, to join me in this thinking time. Before we go ahead, I just want to send special greetings, special salutation to a great statesman, to a patriot, to a soldier, to a prisoner without a crime. This is greetings from the Barefoot Soldier to this selfless gentleman, Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba. Even in captivity, he is still there, fighting. He told us one time that this will not be a walk in the park. It's just like he was a prophet. It's just like he understood how tough this journey will be. His resilience in captivity in Norway goes to show us that he's a selfless gentleman. It goes to show his tenacity. It goes to show that his longevity in this path to freedom is unwavering, it's unshakable. Few days ago, the lion crawled in the dungeons of Norway. He sent us a very touching message addressing our people, not thinking about himself, but thinking about us who are in the semi-freedom land, because all Ambazonians are prisoners until Ambazonia is free. But his own prison, like that of many other Ambazonians, is the university of all prisons. These are guys who are holding the PhD in prisons. We are all in a cell, but they have upgraded. I want to salute him like I'm saluting the other prisoners held in Konengi, in Douala, Newbel, in Bamenda, in Biya, in Mamfi, in Bui, and all over the world who are Ambazonians because of their selflessness, because of their sacrifice to make sure that we have a free land to free our people, a land we can call our own, a land we can beat our chest to say, yes, this is where we call home. Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, he's got a good soul. He's a human rights activist. He's somebody that will be written in the annals of history. He's somebody misunderstood by some few people, like they misunderstood the Thomas Sankaras, like they misunderstood the guy in Congo, Patrice Lumumba, and like some are misunderstanding Ibrahim Traore today. He falls in that generation. Even when he speaks, you see that he has conviction. He knows what he's talking about. They thought that they can catch him, but they couldn't catch his soul. They cannot catch his tenacity. They cannot catch that urge to freedom. It is like the air. You cannot hold it tight. It's like the balloon. You can't blow it and force it into water to sink. That is the man, Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba. A man I'm praying to be like. I'm so not happy that he's making this history without me. Being in jail is a very good fight. It's history. So if they think that they are going to make us to chill down because we are being afraid of jail and all whatnot, they have something else coming. So join me, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Ambazonians, to salute the great leader of this revolution, Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba. That said, I want to send my special greetings to the Vice President of the AGOFC, Dr. Julius Nyi, for his tenacity, for his steadfastness, for putting on a very big shoe and trying to walk. With all of us around him, he's not only walking, but he's sprinting. Where he has taken us to is a place where all Ambazonians should clap their hands and say, good, the leadership is still intact. If they thought that they can decapitate the leadership, they have something else coming. Because Dr. Julius Nyi is made up of the same stereo stuff, the same stereo metal, like Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba. One is the hammer, the other is the anvil. Thank you so much. And to all the members of the Leadership Council, I want to thank you all for being there. I want to thank you for this time where we've been tested. Fingers have been pointed at us. All type of words have been used on us. Some of their media paint us like devils. But we dare to look at them eyeballs to eyeballs to tell them, those names you are calling us, that is not us. We are Ambazonians. We are freedom fighters. Whatever you're thinking and whatever you're saying will not have happened if Cameroon had not sent their thugs across the Mongo into Ambazonia. So anything that is happening or that will happen Cameroon is to be blamed, because nowhere in history can Cameroon stand up to say they have the right to exercise their sovereignty over the peoples of Ambazonia. No time in history can they ever do that. Even the United Nations knows that they don't have the right to exercise their sovereignty over the peoples of Ambazonia. There is no time in history that we have not proven that. Thank you so much. And I want to make sure that I thank all the missions all over the world that are making sure that our boys and girls who are defending homeland are able to defend homeland. I want to give special attention also to the education department, the Amazonian Education Department, that has built a curriculum of education that many Ambazonians will have to read very well to understand the foundation that we are setting for the future of our kids. I want to thank them so dearly. To the Human Rights Department, I want to congratulate them for a job well done, for all the documents that they have put in place to make sure that the world understand the predicaments of Ambazonia. I want to make sure that I thank them wholeheartedly and encourage them to do more so that this genocide in Ambazonia will not go unwritten. We are waiting for that day when the United Nations, France, and all other naysayers will come to say never again, like they said in the Rwandan genocide. They always wait until it happens, then they come in shouting like the hypocrites that they are. But then, fellow Ambazonians back home in Ambazonia, thank you so much for your unwavering attitude. Thank you very much for the support of this ACN roadmap that we've put in place. It is something that nobody can pay you. Nobody can pay any of us for the sacrifices that we are doing. It costs a lot to do what we are doing. But the future generation will thank us for our services, just like this present generation now in all these independent countries are thanking those who stood tall to fight the fight, to walk the walk, and make sure that they have a free nation that they can proudly today call theirs. It is the same thing that some of us are doing, even without knowing, that we are writing our names in that annals of history. So you ask yourself, listening to me today, are you in the right side of this history, or you are in the wrong side of this history? I don't want to know your answer. Let your imagination beat you. Welcome once more again to this show. I want us to talk together. I want us to think together. I want us to smile together. I want us to laugh together. When it needs me to cry, I want us to cry together. I want us to see how we walk ourselves into a prison. I want us to see how we blindfolded ourselves into a prison. I want to let us know how we got ourselves entangled and interwoven in this madness called Cameroon. When you look at the attitude of these Cameroonians, when you look at what is happening to us, you begin to ask yourself, if you are somebody who has got an IQ that is above 2, you have started reasoning what got us into this place. Those with an IQ below 2, we all need to help them to grow up, to be able to start imagining what they would have been should we not have gotten into this sorrowful situation. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will begin this show today by giving us a throwback that I understand that many of us already know. Please forgive me for my repetition. I want us to get to understand how the Cameroons came together. Because some people are making some very great mistakes about it. That I want us to know and to start thinking, what if this ball was the other way around? What would have Cameroon done? I want us to also understand and begin to know what the 20th of May was all about. Some Ambazonians think that the 20th of May was about us, that it was about them. It wasn't. Then lastly, I want us to start thinking of the way forward. How do we walk out from where we clicked in? Those are the things I want us to talk today. Those are the type of things I want us to beat our imaginations with. And I'm begging all black legs to listen to me. I don't want you to like me. I don't want you to like my person. But I want you to listen. I want you to keep that cup of hatred somewhere and wear the cup of reason and try to listen. So if you know of any black leg that is out there that is not following this show today, please send this show to them to follow. Because I will be addressing them also. Ladies and gentlemen, some people say that we are trying to split Africa when Africa is trying to come together to be as one. Some people say also that we are trying to split Cameroon, one Cameroon that was before the white man came, or before the white people came and splitted us into tiny bits and pieces. Now, I will not go right down into this history, but I want to let those people to know that before the white man came, there was no Cameroon. There was no piece of yam called Cameroon. Cameroon, by the way, is not an African name. I think it means prawns or something like that. That was given by one Portuguese. And some are still crying of a German Cameroon. The truth is this. The German Cameroon included part of Chad, part of Central African Republic, I think part of, Equatorial Guinea, and part of Nigeria today, and so on and so forth. This present Cameroon, La République du Cameroun, and Ambazonia are not the countries that formed the German Cameroon. So you cannot be forcing two people together because you want to get a German Cameroon, while the other parts of the German Cameroon are somewhere else. So you are not fighting to form a German Cameroon, you are fighting to form some kind of political interest or economic interest that's walking the walk of the colonizers. Because we are two different people, two different cultures, and all whatnot. Now, when Germany was defeated and the League of Nations placed the two split Cameroon into tiny bits and pieces and placed the people of the British Southern Cameroons under under the care of the Britain, and placed the people of the French Cameroon under the care of France. They gave them some guidelines on what to do with these territories. We were all category B territories under the League of Nations. There was no small country, there was no big country. The British Southern Cameroon was a Category B territory. La République du Cameroon, no matter big or how small it was a Category B territory. And Britain and France were to move these territories politically, economically, etc., towards self-rule, towards independence, towards freedom, not towards anything called freedom by joining or independence by joining, because that thing has not been clearly defined till date. I'm saying this because I want to take us just gradually to where we are today. Because I'm reading on Facebook, many things are happening, and I begin to wonder if some Ambazonians did not really read the history book that was taught them. I know that the type of history books that Cameroon approves is not that one that really carry the facts or the truth about the history of our people. But some of us went in depth. And if you are lucky to have a good historian who is an Ambazonian, he or she will take you in depth for you to understand your predicaments. In fact, one of my history teachers used to call all of us slaves, that we are all slaves, and truly we are. So you see, so when the League of Nations was dissolved and the United Nations took over, they continued with the same footstep of moving us towards self-rule. Now, when it came to the time that they have had to free us, to give us that full freedom, you know, we were ruled under Enugu because the British wanted to ease administration. So they placed us under Enugu in Biafra. So that's where we were. Our people being politically active, they saw that they were maltreated in Enugu. They saw that their political interest was not being looked at in Enugu. They saw that what they aspire or what they thought to get from that region was not forthcoming. And they decided to move away. And that is what you hear in history, in the Eastern Regional Crisis, where the British Southern Cameroonians moved away from Enugu and they were given a quasi-regional status in the 50s. Note that at this time, Cameroon was still in pure, total colonization by France, while we were already enjoying a quasi-regional status, meaning that we were already ruling ourselves like 60-something%. We were already able to make our own economic policies that were good for our people. While French Cameroon was still totally under the French Cameroon. And they wanted also to get their freedom, but the French people were holding them with iron fist. That is why the Omnio Bears and the rest took up arms, and you had the UPC uprising, the Maquisards and whatsoever they called it, and they were slaughtering people in their own area there, and we gave some of them asylum because we were already a state enjoying a quasi-regional status while they were still yoked with France. So on the 1st of January 1960, because of the fight, it has been too much and France could no longer hold it. And they didn't want to leave that territory completely without having a stooge. They handed over Cameroon to their so-called Ahijo today. They handed Cameroon to him. Why Ambazonia, British Southern Cameroon, was still enjoying the quasi-regional status. So we were clamoring also for Britain to let us go. But then France and Britain, they had their economic interest in some other territories, and they decided to use Ambazonia as articles of trade, where France will forgo one territory somewhere. I've forgotten the name of that thing. Was it the Dogbill territory or whatsoever, somewhere, to Britain, and then Britain will be letting Ambazonia free to join France in a style where they will make something called the plebiscite. And the United Nations then called the two presidents, the president of Cameroon, Amadou Ahidjo, and the president of Nigeria at that time, I think he was called Tafawa Balewa, to come to the United Nations, because they were going to give Ambazonia, the British Southern Cameroons, two options. Do you wish to achieve independence by joining the Federal Republic of Nigeria, or you wish to achieve independence by joining the independent Cameroon? So the two presidents came to the United Nations fourth session. And this is what Tafawa Balewa said. If the people of the British Cameroon want to join us, they will be doing so to form an integral part of Nigeria, which means if we were to vote that we want to join Nigeria, independent by joining Nigeria, we will become an integral part of Nigeria. France had played a very good role, because they already knew the game they were playing behind, and they had given Amadou Ahidjo a very good speech to cajole us, because at that time there were already some Ambazonians, some British Southern Cameroonians, who were asking for the third option, that the third option must be on the table. Why E.M.L. Endele was for Nigeria, Dr. Jongu Foncha listened to what the president of Cameroon, Amadou Ahidjo, said in the United Nations fourth session, and it pricked his mind. This is what Amadou Ahidjo said. If our brothers from the British Southern Cameroons want to join us, we shall do so at the footing of equality, forming a federation of two states, equal in status. Now, this is what President Amadou Ahidjo said. This is what he sold. And Foncha bought it, because they were presented with two evils. They were presented with two evils, fire or sea, and they had to choose the lesser evil. So according to Foncha, the lesser evil was to vote to form a federation with Cameroon. Two states, equal in status. But if we had voted to have independence by joining Nigeria, we will be getting in as an integral part of Nigeria. Now, that is why Foncha chose the lesser evil, which was to join these monsters to form a federation. Now, we got into the federation, knowing that it will be a federation of two states, equal in status, which means we will be controlling our economic system, our way of life, our culture, our education, our Anglo-Saxon law, and everything that we got or that we experienced with the British as they were our protectorate. Now, little did we know that these people had a card that they had played. So the federation continued and was going on well. The federation was going on well. Then, because we had that federation, Francophone explorers were able to get into Ambazonia because at least we formed a federation, 2 states equal in status with these Francophone explorers, with these Cameroonese. So French explorers could get into Cameroon and also move into Ambazonia, but they will have to show a laissez-passer that we were also showing if we're going to French Cameroon, because there were 2 different states. We only meet at the federal level. They will have to present a laissez-passer to us to acknowledge if they are getting in or they're not getting in. And if we are also to go to the Francophone Cameroon, we will also have to show them a laissez-passer, and they have the right to accept our entry or not to accept our entry. 2 different states, and we were doing just fine, very well. So France sent their explorers into Cameroon, and they got also into Ambazonia. The geologists were there, the archaeologists were there, the geographers were there, people were there. Then something happened, that they discovered oil in Ambazonia. The French explorers discovered oil in Ambazonia, in Victoria. They discovered oil. When they discovered oil, they had to radio their government back in France that this is what they have discovered in Cameroon. First, the French people thought that it was the Cameroon, the site of the French people, and they were very happy because all of them, they are greedy lot of people. The sick man of Europe, France, knew that this is where they were going to get their money. But unfortunately, the geolocation and everything that was sent to them showed that this location was in the British Southern Cameroons. So they had to start deriving means on how they can get their hand on this oil without passing through the Prime Minister's lodge in Biya, without passing through Foncha, without passing through the West Cameroon government, because many of you don't even know that we had our own government and our own economic parastatals that were running our state for us. Very beautiful. Many of you don't know that. So the French people were thinking, because they knew that if they take this message to Foncha, trying to tell him that this is what we have seen in your territory. Foncha is English oriented. He will not hold that message without calling Britain to tell Britain that this is what we have discovered in our own side of the country. What can we do? Because France knew that if Britain heard that there was oil in the territory that they just mortgaged to them, Britain will also want to have economic interest on that oil or a percentage from that oil. So they wanted to hold it all alone. How would they do it without making the West Cameroon government to be aware that they were doing this? Because they cannot come in and start tapping without an agreement with the West Cameroon government. The West Cameroon government will not sign an agreement without maybe it leaking out for the British people to look, to see if this is good or not. So they were afraid that it should not get to Britain. So they had to call Amadou Ahidjo. They had already 72-page document program plan on how to take over Ambazonia. They had to call Amadou Ahidjo and sold this plan to him, giving him his own percentage of that oil At that time, Amadou Ahijo, I don't think he even knew the worth of crude oil. So whatever percentage that they called to him, he thought he had seen the world. And he accepted to go on with the plan. And the plan was the first document. Step one was that he was supposed to sell the idea that we are brothers, we love ourselves so much, we were one before Britain and France came. It is high time we consolidate our brotherness, our brotherliness, and make sure that we tie a good bond. This is what he was selling. And the highest point was that he was supposed to make sure that he tell everyone that the federation was very expensive to run. This is what they sold. That the federation was very expensive to run. Note that at Fumban, which is a non-event because there's no document signed anywhere that this was a Fumban Conference by Django Foncha and how do they call him again? And Amadou Ahijo. Knew that they decided that no bill that will impair the unity of the states, of the federation, by means of changing of names should never be implemented. Never, should never, ever be implemented. So now he started selling this his talk of the federation being very expensive. Note that this federation was not expensive for Ambazonians. We were booming, doing our things. We had many parastatals that we had, in fact, we had economic growth at that time. Because the Tico WAF was one of the highest WAF seaport that was that had that's the most highest traffic in West Africa, because even Biafrans were shipping through the Tico WAF. It is a natural sea harbor that no country on earth can sacrifice that harbor to a creator harbor in Douala. Now, I want Ambazonians to be thinking, you have a natural sea harbor where big ship can come and anchor right on shore for you to offload the goods. But you abandon it to go and create a creator port that you spend monies every year to redrain, and that cannot anchor very huge ships, because if big ships come, they only stop right in the sea, and then smaller boats will go and offload the goods and bring to Douala Port. So we had that, and it was giving us money. We had the Public Works Department. You can see one of their vehicles there, the Land Rover. That's the Public Works Department. They were PWD. They were repairing our roads. Our roads were not tarred, but they were not bad. It is not now that our roads are not tarred and there are no roads. Because what we have, you can't call them roads. My grandfather used to tell me how you could watch football match and second half, you pick your car from Bamenda that you are going to the Atlantic State. You will arrive there before the second half finishes. But today, 90 minutes, you have not even arrived Atlantic State. These were the people that were keeping our roads in order, because they were accountable to us the Anglo-Saxon way. They were accountable to us. The economy was booming. Everything was fine. We also had the Tico International Airport. The Tico International Airport was also controlling a very huge traffic where people would fly from Tico to Britain, to Lagos, to Abuja. The Tico International Airport. And they will have their program that they will tell you the plane leaves from this time to this time, lands there. Oh God, if you watched, look, I struggled to look for that program. I had it, but I don't know where I kept it. You will enjoy it. What you see now today on screens in most big airports. This was us. Don't forget, President Kwame Nkrumah visited the West Cameroon and landed in this same airport. Is this airport still existing today? What went wrong? Do these guys really see us as humans, as people? Do they even think that we can also travel? What went wrong? The movement from this airport was very huge and large than the movement from Douala Airport at this time. What happened that it could not be expanded like they expanded the Douala Airport? We also had the West Cameroon Marketing Board that was in charge of our farm produce and setting up prices that were not extravagant, that no businessman will be able to scam you. Scamming was not our lifestyle. You follow the law. You follow the law. You see, that is Sonara there. That is Sonara. You see, you follow the law. We had so many economic parastatals that I cannot mention all of them here. You had the power cam that was generating electricity to those who could enjoy it at that time. Because not everybody had electricity at that time. But power cam was producing electricity. And our grandparents would tell you that they will go for months without knowing that there's power seizure or power outage. Even if there is power outage or power seizure, they inform you 2 days before that there will be maintenance or there will be this before it happens. We had the Motengene Police College. You see, those are Ambazonian police. Those are not Cameroon police. Those are the West Cameroon Police Force. That's the mobile wing. That's the mobile wing. We were a state. We were a nation enjoying what was beneath our feet. And note that at this time, we had not started mining anything that was below our feet. We had not started mining. It was human resource that we were booming like this with. Then we had the West Cameroon Bank. The West Cameroon Bank with millions inside. What happened to it? These guys came in after this, their 20th of May nonsense, transferred the headquarters of the West Cameroon Bank from Biya to Douala, appoint a Francophone as the head of the so-called Cameroon Bank, who borrowed monies to Francophones. Kaji the Fosso borrowed money from the West Cameroon Bank before he's making this nonsense he's making. There's another one, another one rich Cameroonian. There are so many of them with this man of Ndawara and all the rest. They borrowed money from there, crumbled it, and it went into debt until today. Then the money that was in the marketing board, that's the West Cameroon Produce Marketing Board, that was feeding the nation, had a lot of money. They removed the monies from it when they deceived our forefathers with this their 20th May thing, and went and created the Douala Seaport with it. Part of the monies from Cameroon Bank was borrowed to Douala Seaport, and then all the monies from marketing board went to the Douala Seaport. So even when Ambazonia shall be Ambazonia with its state, Cameroon will still be owing us from Douala Seaport. That will be joint property. We have all the evidence, we have everything, we have all the documents. That's why we are able to talk. So there were a lot of things that economic boom was happening in our area. Sorry. There was economic boom in our area. So if Amadou Ahidjo was selling his talk that the federation was too expensive to run, maybe it was expensive to them, but it wasn't for us because we were fine. We had our cam water that was generating good, clean, and potable water for our homes. Good, clean, and potable water. We had a free, that's public taps in all quarters. If you pass in the territories of Ambazonia today, you will see the trunk or the remains or the skeletons of those public taps still standing in some quarters today. And it was for free. We never knew that you can pay for water. The government was supposed to provide us water for free. If you want to pay for water, it will be the one that you generated to your personal home. But the public taps were for free. But in Yaoundé, in La République du Cameroun, they were selling water. Even public taps had an owner. People would stand there with jelly guns, 25 francs CFA, and you get water. For us, we're enjoying our economy. Our people were answerable to us. Our politicians were answerable to us. They knew that they were there because we were here. Our water was for free until Snake came in. Now you don't even have water. You open your tap, what is coming out of it is not water. How did we get here? How did we get here? And they tell you that the federation was expensive to run when we were enjoying our honeymoon. Because if I look at what is happening now, I lived the remnants because I enjoyed a little bit before these frogs came in, too many in a place and scattered everything. So the federation was not expensive for us to run. It wasn't at all. It wasn't. You have the Minchum Fall, that we would have had our electricity. We had so many things. We had many businesses that were booming, owned by Ambazonians. You had the Nanga Enterprises that was booming. A contractor, he was building buildings and doing so many things. Because one of the article in that book that France had given Ahidjo was to make us subservient, was to make sure that Ambazonia become poor, so that when they throw in any change, we will fight over it and forget to look over the future of our kids, because we'll be very poor, that will be controlled by money. It is the same principle that Paul Biya is using on his people now. Make them to be very poor, so that when you stand around and you are sharing bread, or you are giving sardine, that is all they know. They will glorify you and forget that tomorrow, no, just few hours after, they will not have that bread again and they will not have that sardine. And they go back home clapping their hands that man did well. So they try to make us subservient, to look only up to Yaoundé. That's why they started closing everything that we had as our economic stronghold. They closed the marketing board, closed Cameroon Bank, closed the deep sea port that even till today Nigerians are still crying. If you go to Nigeria, you meet those old Nigerians. They are still crying that sea port. They closed everything, PWG, and brought in their own thieves. You give them money, they cannot prepare anything. They cannot do nothing. No water, no electricity, nothing. So that is what Amadu Ahidjo sold. And then they gave, because Foncha was a very greedy person also. Because if he was thinking about his people, he would have noticed that his people were doing fine. Though he noticed that very late, regretted it, and took a delegation to the United Nations, but it was too late. He had sold us, because they offered him the position of a prime minister in that United Cameroon that they would form, because the federation was too expensive. And he saw that his position will not be shaken, but maybe he will be bigger because it occupies the whole territory at that time. And he was too greedy to accept. And that is why Ahidjo had the opportunity now to organize the referendum on the 20th of May. Now, let us accept that they wanted to vote to know if they should dissolve the federation or not, going contrary to the articles of the Fumban Conference. It would have been the people of Ambazonia, of the British Southern Cameroons, to vote either to dissolve the federation or not, because these were the people that voted to join them in the first place. Listen well. Am I saying something? Cameroon did not vote to form a federation with us. They only revived their constitution to accommodate us. We were the ones who voted in a plebiscite to join Cameroon to form a federation of two states, equal in status. So if there was to be a change on the form of state, it would have been us to vote, not the whole of Cameroon. For instance, if all Ambazonians had voted no to the we or yes, so if there was a no, if Ambazonians had voted no for the dissolution of the form of state, it would have still been a victory for France and Cameroon, because it would have still been 99.99% because of their population. So it was a scam, and Foncha did not think about his people. Though in his apology in his house, when I'm happy to have been part of that delegation, when he said they were only primary school teachers, when he was apologizing. You know, I accept they were only primary school teachers, but it is our time now to make sure that we are not primary school teachers. So that is how the 20th of May came about. It was not because they love us. It was not because they wanted to form that kind of brotherly companion or affinity with us. It was because of crude oil. It was because of crude oil and only crude oil. So as time went by, Ahmadu Ahidjo started understanding what crude oil was all about. And he started saying that these barrels that were going out cost this in international market. But how am I receiving just this little percentage? So he started asking questions. When he started asking questions, France had to play and asking that they should increase the percentage that they were giving him. France had to play a fast one on him. Went through his doctor in Paris and tell his doctor to tell him, convoke him and tell him that he has got just few months to live. And if he surely loves his people, he should do the right thing by appointing his prime minister, the head of state. And then he just enjoy and help him to rule for the last month that he has got. That he need a lot of rest. And he cannot be having that rest while in office as a president. While behind, France has already groomed the vampire that we have today called Paul Biya to take over. So that's how they deceived the Uzama, because he already saw something and was asking questions. So when Ahmadu Ahidjo left and noticed that the months they gave, he is still okay, nothing is happening with him, he is strong. Before he could realize that they have played a fast one on him, it was too late. This bastard in power already placed people in places that even Ahidjo could not come back. And Ahidjo had to try a coup d'etat in order to come back, which never worked. Then came the golden pen. You will notice that Sonara was created in 1973, if my history is still correct. The referendum took place. The referendum took place on the 20th of May, 1972. And you see that the French people were already waiting that Ahidjo should succeed in bringing Cameroon as a unitary state, so that they will come in and start exploitation. Just check running and doing things in 1973. That's when it was launched, 1973. So when Foncha accepted and they changed the name from the Federal Republic of Cameroon to the United Republic of Cameroon, France now could come into Ambazonia without asking permission from Foncha. without asking permission from any West Cameroon government or parliament in Biya. They just need to talk with their stooge, because all French territorial Africa, all of them are stooges till today, except those that are beginning to open their eyes. France has dealt with Africa, and France has dealt with Ambazonia. France has dealt with Ambazonia. They have raped our economy through Cameroon, because they knew that us, with our English back, will never accept that. We'll burn this thing down. So with the unity state now, and with Ahijo in control, they just need to phone Ahijo. Yes, our people are coming on Tuesday, and they come past group, they go to Victoria, and they start mining. Why our people, even in Victoria, they don't have roads? Atlantic states, the poorest roads ever. Timber, France, gold, France, everything, France. So it was not because they love us. It was for their economic interest. And with the paper that France has given them, that they have to make us subservient, they had to make us poor, so that even if we want to fight back, there will be no rich Ambazonian to give chunks of money for us to fight back, like it is happening today. That's why you see they attack all our Ambazonians that were economically viable. They started by decapitating the Nanga enterprises. Ahijo gave Nanga enterprises contracts. When the contracts were finished, he asked for payment, never paid. They went to Kilo enterprises, because these were millionaires, West Cameroon millionaires. They went to the Kilo enterprises, did the same, took monies. They did all what Ahijo wanted them to do. Took the Belt Road, dug wells and everything, never paid. They went to Neba Automobile. Neba Automobile, we call him Neba Volvo. He was the one supplying Volvo in West Africa in the 50s and early 60s. So Ahijo gave him command to buy Volvos for the government. He bought a lot of Volvos. They came in. The government took it, never paid. They crumbled. Because they want to make sure that we remain down there. Down there. While they were using our monies from Cameroon Bank, giving to Kaji the Futso, giving to, how do they call these other guys? It's been long, I've not revised this, their nonsense. Yeah, and they were manning and doing their things, but they were bringing us down. Those who were Anglo-Saxon down, because they knew that if we get up one day to fight, we will need finances. And those bourgeois around us will be able to finance these things. So they had to do all of these things to decapitate us, to make us look only to Yaoundé. So that when they throw bread or they throw anything or they come or they make us so hungry and they dig a stretch of road for like 7 kilometers, we'll start shouting and happy. Oh, yo. Nonsense. They have made us this stupid. This stupid. Look at Amity Bank. Amity Bank started from scratch and was growing in a way that Cameroon was scared. The way Amity Bank was growing, owned by an Ambazonian, Cameroon was scared. They have to play all the gymnastics to put Amity Bank down. And one funny thing is that they use but us to bring us down. Because they have made us so greedy. that we look only upon ourselves, we forget about other people. They brought down the Amity Bank. Yes, that's what they did. Now, they struggled by all means to bring down the common initiatives that is feeding most Ambazonians today. That is the credit unions. They have tried all they can to transfer the headquarters of the credit union from Azure to Douala. I don't know if they have succeeded or not because I just stopped following that nonsense. They have tried as much as possible to make sure that they interfere on who is the president of the credit union because they want to put it down. They know that is our system. They want to get into it and they want to crumble it. That is why you see they have eyes on who has got what and what is happening within our credit unions. We think that they love us. We smile with them, but they don't love us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just giving us all of these so that we begin to understand, so that we begin to rethink again our stance as to why we will not let these boys and girls fighting to defend us peacefully. Look, these guys did not just get up one morning and just love guns and pick up guns and they're trying to defend themselves. These guys are Okada riders in the quarter that all of us knew them. They were mechanics that all of us knew them. They were university graduates that all of us know them. They were students that all of us knew them. They were just little guys, boys in the quarter doing their things that all of us knew them. But it is because of all what I have explained that has frustrated them to the level where their backs are on the wall and the only thing they can do is to move forward. Only a foolish man would try to squeeze himself or herself into the wall. It's not possible. It's suicide. And if somebody is gripping your neck and choking you to the extent that you can die, and you have a means to give that person the hardest punch that you can and free yourself, and you don't, and you die, you have committed suicide. Because you had the means to free yourself, but you didn't. Ambazonians don't want to commit suicide. We want to free ourselves. And the only way to free ourselves is to fight back. Ambazonia is not the first country that is fighting back. There are many countries that fought back to be free today. The greatest country you enjoy today, called United States of America, fought back. In the American Revolution, there are so many Americans that died from American hands. There were so many Americans that were blacklegs that enjoyed the occupation by the United Kingdom. There were so many Americans that were cooks to the Brits, that were gardeners to the Brits, and they saw that if this freedom of America come to pass, they will lose their jobs because they were just thinking only about the menial jobs that they were working. They didn't know that after that there is something bigger. Same like in Ambazonia. There are certain Ambazonians that are blacklegs because they are protecting their jobs, because that's just what they have. But they don't look at the bigger picture, that in a free Ambazonia, they will have something bigger than what they have now. The problem with most Ambazonians is because they only know what they know. They're only thinking about what they are seeing. They're only looking at what they are seeing. They're only interested in what they are seeing. They don't want to take a leap of hope. A leap to the unknown, that is hope. Because in a free Ambazonia, there is new employment, new everything. If you look at the economic materials that we have beneath our feet in Ambazonia, you'll be surprised. And Cameroon knows them. But they know that we are going soon, or we will go one day. That's why they stop everything that was in our land. They knew that one day we will go. That's why they cannot develop most of those things that we know, that we have seen. In a free Ambazonia, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, there will be no Ambazonian working odd jobs for anybody. We have the human resources. We have everything that can make us the most powerful nation in West Africa. So forget about you being second-class citizens. Forget about being les ennemis dans la maison. Forget about being le Biafran. Forget about being le noso. Forget about whatever thing you think that you have enjoyed from Cameroon. Because if I ask you most solemnly, what is it in any part of Ambazonia that any Ambazonian can stand in that place and beat his chest or her chest? Thanks for this unity that we have this. Known, apart from dilapidation, apart from the fact that they have made us hungry, that if they give us, if they dig us just a well for a whole province, one well, we will be very happy. Because they have made us so sick, so tired, that we do not even know that we have anything other than what we have seen, or other than what they give us. Ladies and gentlemen, Ambazonia is a very rich land. Ambazonia is a very, very rich land. Now I take you to part 3 of this our think tank for today. Have you ever sat down and you imagine, you take yourself on a very wild ride, and you imagine that Ambazonia took over Cameroon? What if it was Ambazonia that took over Cameroon? Say this 2025, we dissolve the Douala Seaport and create the Victoria Deep Sea Port. And we just stop the Douala Seaport from existing. We stop the Douala International Airport, close it down, sell some parts for farmland, and then we create the Tico and Bamenda International Airports. Then we also close the Yaoundé airports, put some for farmland and make some our military base. Then we remove the capital from Yaoundé to Biya. Then we make sure that the SDOs in all the big districts in La République du Cameroun are all Ambazonians who speak English. We don't care if they speak French. We make sure that all the governors are Ambazonians. We make sure that all gendarme officers, police officers in all their villages, all the big police officers and gendarme officers are Ambazonians. We make sure that even in their interior villages, that the commissioner of that village is an Ambazonian. We don't care if he speaks French or not. He will have to address all the grandmothers in that village in English. We don't care. We go to their courts. We appoint common law judges into their courts and try to instill the English teachers into their schools, and we try to make them Anglophones. We make the military language English. If you don't speak English, forget you will never join the military. We make sure that everything that is written in any ministry is in English. And if we want to put French, we should put it in very small characters under it. We make sure that anybody who gets into any office and want to speak to us in French, we tell him we don't understand that you are vernacular. You know, we make sure that we don't give them any road. We make sure that we destroy the power station from Kribi. No, we allow the power station in Kribi, but we make sure that that power station in Kribi pays its royalty, but in the Bamenda Urban Council, you know. And then we make sure that where the mining gold, that the mine gold there, somewhere in Idea, the mine gold there and pay the royalties, but in Victoria City Council. We make sure that we block the roads linking them. That if they want to go to, if you leave Bafoussam and you want to go to Douala, you must pass through Bamenda and then pass through Biya before you go up to Douala. We make sure that we don't link them, that the roads are not linked together. They must pass and pay taxes and eat in Ambazonian land before they are going. Because this is what these guys did to us. If you leave Bamenda that you are going to Biya, you must pass through Bafoussam, Douala before you are going. When you are passing like that, you stop, you eat, you pay something to them, you give them economy, you're taking monies from our side. That's how they make us subservient, looking up to that center. We make sure that we make them to also pass through Biya or pass through Bamenda before they're going to some of these own territories. We don't give them roads, nothing. Now, ask me, ladies and gentlemen, or answer me this question. Let's say we were the ones doing these things, these terrible things, these things that I can even vomit when I'm calling. Let's say we were the ones doing all of these things to Camerooners. Would they pick up guns? Would they one day have enough to say enough is enough? Would they? Your answer is as good as mine. They will. So why do you think Ambazonians would not defend themselves? To the extent that these guys they even declared war on us. How can a slave stand in his master's table and is asking to have a seat on the table? These guys, they don't look at us like humans. We are second-class citizens to them. And I'm sorry for all of these guys calling themselves blacklegs. The truth is that they feel this pain that I'm feeling. The truth is that they know the truth. But it's because they have shit in their head. They cannot sit down to think, but what am I doing? What is the future of my kids? This pain that I've lived with these French people, is it the same thing I want to live for my children? Because I bet you, if my fathers had fought for this revolution to make sure that Amazonia is free, I will not be sitting here today. I will not be fighting today. They would have done the service for me. I would have thanked them. Now, why can't you do the same for your own kids? Why can't you fight for your own children? To thank you tomorrow, to enjoy tomorrow. Like I said, there are some Ambazonians who are saying this revolution started well, now it is not going, you are killing your own people, you are doing this. These are the type of words that Cameroons breed on. These are the type of words that Cameroon want to sell. These are the type of words that Cameroon want us to be using. Truly speaking, all is not smooth. I cannot sit here to beat my chest to say all is smooth, but this is war. There is no clear-cut definition for war. War is chaos. A lot of things happen during war. A lot of people exploit the situation of war. do not leave the chaos or do not leave the exploitation deprive you or distract you from the bigger picture. If I myself I were to look at the distractions, I would not have still been in this struggle today. I am in this struggle because I look at the bigger picture. You see, there is this guy I always make mention of, because if you ask me his modus, I would think that maybe he has got some gems in his head. This guy they called My Country People and some of his other detractors. I've tried to understand where he's coming from. Yes, truly speaking, he might be saying the truth that he is doing what he is doing because he went home to Ngokitunja and he was arrested and molested by the soldiers, by the Ambazonian soldiers in Ngokitunja. Let's say that is true. Now, even that is true, will you then sell 8 million people because you were molested by a few Ambazonian soldiers? The few Ambazonian soldiers who molested you, are they the parents of the children in Kwakwa that Cameroon has killed? Are they the children or the parents of the children in Ngabo that Cameroon has killed? Or in Santa, or in Pinyin, or in Mamfe? They are not. So look at the other Ambazonians. What future do they have in this present dispensation? The only future is Ambazonia. Because if Cameroon was your country, like you love it and it was good, you would not have escaped to be a military man in the UK. You would have been something more, maybe better in Ambazonia. You left your country not because you like that country, but because you were looking for something better. So why not work hard to give that something better to your children? That's the question I'm asking. Let me tell you, Cameroon had also created their own Ambazonian soldiers. I think the deaf chair came out and gave us systematically how they function. Few months ago, I received a call from Nto that they have arrested one Nto man, and that the leader was saying that the leader of the group was saying that he was ADF. So I should try to intervene. I said, okay, can you give me the number of the guy who picked up the soldier, the person? They said, no, there is no number. I said, okay, whenever you have a number, send to me. Because you are saying that it's ADF, I'll be able to talk to them. Which area? They said it's Mbiami. I said, okay, no problem. I will talk to them. So a few days afterward, they said they have called and they are asking for 2 million, that the family should send 2 million francs CFA. I said, 2 million? And you said they are ADF? I said, yes. I said, okay, give me the number. He said, yeah, they are using with the number of the person that they arrested. I said, yes, send the number of the person to me. They send the number. I pick up my phone and I called, and the guy answered. And I said, okay, I spoke in Lamso, and I told him to give the phone to the commander of the group that has arrested him. He said, okay. And he called the commander, gave the phone. So I was talking in Lamso, and the guy said, no, say no country talk here, no country talk, English, no country talk. I said, and top man refusing to talk Lamso, talking no country talk, and an ADF general who have not even recognized my voice. So I just started asking myself that question. Then I said, asked him, I said, which group are you? You say you're fighting under the leadership of? He said, ADF. I said, and you are? He called. Is it General what again? I forgot. Forgotten that is general name that he called. I know that there is no general like that in the ADF, even that area. So I said, and you are ADF? He said, yes. I asked him, I said, do you know me? He said, must I know you? I said, okay. And then we just spoke and then he dropped. I called the family of this guy and I told them, I said, look, that guy is not with any ADF barrack. And that guy is not with Ambazonian soldiers. I've not seen any top man that you called him and you start talking Lamso and the person will refuse to talk Lamso in the army and asking you to speak in English. I've not. So I said, I'm sorry, I am not able to help you. If there were Ambazonian soldiers, I would have known, I would have tried my best to help you. So the family tried and paid, I think, was it 1.5 or 1.7 million, like that they said they gave to them, and the guy was freed. So I told the family, I asked the family what happened. They said the guy said they picked him up, tied his eyes, then took him to one house in the village in Biya. But he don't know they have got the tied his eyes, and then they only opened his eyes in the house. And when they were releasing him, they came in, tied his eyes, and took him again. But he knows that when they were releasing him, the guys that came were speaking but French. And then he looked at he tried to push up the thing. He saw but military boots that they were wearing like B, that he think that they are B guys. But the way they kept him was so it means B guys are dealing with some people in the village, or maybe they just have a hideout there that they carry people and go there and take money. So, and if I hadn't intervened or spoken with these guys, his family would have been saying ADF. That is ADF that has done all of these things. And then you have also Mbororos that are working hand in hand with bees are also included in this melancholic situation. They are also kidnapping and asking for money. And they will call and tell you that they are Ambazonian soldiers. So shit happens. Shit happens. And shit should not happen to you. And then you forget about the bigger picture. And then you forget that 8 million people needs freedom. That 8 million people needs freedom. Myself, I've been arrested 2 times by a field marshal. The first time I was well beaten by him. His boys helped me to escape. Now, because, in fact, in all of these guys who sat in America and convinced these other soldiers to start fighting ADF, none of them take the risk that us in the ADF take or in the AGOFC takes. None of them. They only see them in America and they are giving orders. But we are barefoot soldiers. We go right down to make sure that we evaluate situations, to make sure that, we get first-hand information and we are arrested, tortured, So because Field Marshal did that, so I would have just said, I move my hand for this struggle again. I will not do it. That would be very, very stupid. Field Marshal is just one person. In fact, he's not 1 inch of Ambazonia. So I will not take what happened to me personally and I forget about millions of people. So I'm just asking anybody that is a black leg, rethink. Ask yourself questions. Even if you have seen an Ambazonian soldier taken down or who've done some very bad things to you or your family, look, it is just, there are rock soldiers everywhere. Don't think about your personal self and forget about the sacrifices you can make for 8 million people. Do not make the pains you have gone through, maybe because of some rook soldiers, to go in vain. And the way you can make it not to go in vain is to make sure that Ambazonia succeeds and you become somebody tomorrow, or you become something better than what you are with this present dispensation called One Cameroon. Because I bet you many of you don't know what we have been missing for more than 50 years. Many of you don't know where we would have been if this parasite called Cameroon was not on our body. Look at Rwanda of yesterday that came out of genocide. Cameroon cannot talk when Rwanda is talking. Look at this guy who just took over, this Traore, who just took over Burkina Faso 2-3 years ago. If that young man opened his hands, Cameroon cannot knock it. Cameroon cannot clap it. When Dr. Cho Ayaba addresses you guys and talk about what he can do for you guys, don't you see a Traore? Don't you see a Traore? They say a prophet is never accepted in his hometown. That's what they said. Television and radio fooled Congolese to kill their savior, Patrice Lumumba, because of all what the white people were shouting over the radio concerning Patrice Lumumba. Patrice Lumumba had no radio. He had no multiplication of voices to tell his own side of the story. France and Belgium had the radio. They could tell Congolese everything. They would use Congolese to talk on the radio, blaspheming, castigating Patrice Lumumba, polishing Patrice Lumumba with the color of a polish that he is not, causing pain and people to be angry when they hear the name Patrice Lumumba. Some people stood up, held Patrice Lumumba, and handed him to the enemy. At that time, because of the manipulation by the media, they thought they were doing the right thing. They didn't go close or closer to Patrice Lumumba to hear his poor side of the story, to hear his miserable side of the story, to try to understand that he is dying for them, to try to understand that he had seen something that the Europeans want to do to them, that he wants to stop. The people just followed the media, followed the shout online, on the radio and television, and they handed Patrice Lumumba to them. Today, Congo is crying Patrice Lumumba because at that time they thought they were doing the right thing. From the death of Patrice Lumumba, Congo had never been the same. When Muhammad Gaddafi stood up and said the price of a barrel of oil will be determined by us, not by international market or whatsoever that's coming from space. when he stood up to say Africa must stop using the French franc CFA, the cancer that is killing Africa today, and co-opt an African budget that is made by Africans for Africans, a tender lender that is made by Africans for Africans. These guys started polluting his system. They started looking for oppositions in Libya to sponsor, to uplift, to make sure that they kick Gaddafi out. And they formed some kind of a global group called Friends of Libya. And they came in, fought Gaddafi. Me, I flew through Libya. So I can tell you a little about Libya that I know. If you see the distance that Gaddafi took water from Tripoli to a desert for only 400 people, you will not believe, and for free. He told them this is your own share of the oil money. Because he tried to bring them from the desert to town, the people refused. That's their life. That's where they are. And he gave them water, gave them electricity for free. School in Libya was for free, your own money. Hospitals for all Libyans, free, your own money. Every Fridays, family heads go to the council hall. You take bags of rice and you take liters of oil for free. Your own share of the money. That was Libya. Where did you ever see a Libyan anywhere in Europe or America seeking for asylum? Meanwhile, they are just the nearest neighbor to Europe. People leave Ambazonia, live far away, Chad, trek on foot to go to Libya to cross to Europe. But Libya is there. You don't see one of them crossing to Europe. It means they were fine. Before these madness, people call themselves Friends of Libya, formed these their jangums things, and they went and killed Gaddafi. Libyans were shouting and enjoying and saying, oh, thank God, thank you. Today, I'm telling you, if those guys see the statue of Gaddafi built in Tripoli, they'll worship it. Because they have noticed that they are on their own. Those who wanted Gaddafi out, they have gained. They have gained. Libya will never be the same again. Thomas Sankara is the same. They use the media, use radio, people make messages, all type of lies against Thomas Sankara, and his people saw him like the devil. His voice was too weak. He's struggling to explain to his people. Please, what these people are saying is not the truth. It's because I'm trying to stop them from raping us. But the noise was too much that Thomas Sankara's voice was too weak for people to understand. They took him out. His own people. They don't use, but they use us to take us out. It is not like something that was happening long ago. It is happening even now. The young man, Traore, is surviving only by the mercy of God. They're trying to use us again to take him out. But I'm happy that the Burkina Fasoans of nowadays are understanding that this moment is not yesterday. In Ambazonia, the Europe of Ambazonia is Cameroon. Painting Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba black, using all types of imageries to represent this gentleman. His steadfastness scares Cameroon. They were shouting, using a group, Council, or they call him what? This PK in Canada, using my country people, using now, how do they call this? Ngong Emmanuel, using, there are many of them. Matthew in USA, they call him Matthew what? Matthew Ngala, using most of them are in these are a group called Sokamif to shout. They were shouting every day, oh Choayaba, oh this, oh ADF, oh ADF. To make sure that when you listen to all of these, their audios, you become mad. Meanwhile, they have given their monies and they have put behind their pockets in their groups and they're sharing to make sure that they bring this gentleman down. You thought that maybe they were shouting because they are Ambazonians and they love Ambazonia. Ever since Cho Ayaba was picked up by the Norwegians, have you heard them talking about Ambazonia? Have you heard all of those guys bringing some policies to make sure that we get home? What has changed? So they want to use you to take down your own savior. But I am here today to make sure that please do not make the mistake that those in the past made. Do not make the mistake that those in the past made. We have to learn from history. That if Dr. Cho Ayaba goes down, God forbid, Ambazonians will cry like the Congolese are crying today. Because at that time, the Congolese thought that they were doing the right thing. They said Patrice Lumumba was the devil. They thought Thomas Sankara was the devil. They thought Colonel Gaddafi was the devil. Let us not make that mistake, please. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to put our heads together and make sure that the egg of sea becomes our Bible, becomes our emblem, becomes our symbol. I want us to make sure that we help Dr. Nyi to keep on with the tried approach that we crafted to get us home. I want us to start thinking on how we can start supporting the leadership, community by community, block by block, to make sure that we get ourselves this homeland that we so much long for. For if we do not do this, and Cameroon conquers us, God forbid, by war, I bet you beg a gendarme in front of your door before you go to the toilet. I bet you many people, you don't know what Cameroon is. You think these guys love you. You think they love you. I know most of you who are living in Yaoundé and all of these Francophone territories, you feel what I'm talking. You feel what I'm saying. You see it every day. That you are just there because you don't have any choice. But I'm telling you today, you have a choice. That choice is homeland. A land you can call your own. And you have to make sure you invest in that homeland. We have tried to make sure that there is little or nothing called kidnapping for ransom and all of those things. By bringing up all the defense groups that have accepted to work with us together in a way where when you pay your liberation tax of 10,000 francs for men and 5,000 francs for women, you have your number or you have your receipt. Anywhere you are arrested or you're being searched by an Ambazonian military, your number or your receipt is okay. Nobody takes you anywhere. Nobody asks anything again from you. Some of these soldiers, that many of them don't have like a body that try to help them, like the ADF have the egg of sea. Because we out here, we try to make sure that we contribute to help them, help the school, help communities to move on, build hospitals that we have already to move on in some localities. So that is what we do. But some of these guys holding guns and fighting for us don't have a body like this. Some of them were being misled by some other groups and abandoned. So those guys now will need finances to refill their materials. And without them being under an umbrella like this, they will want to look for their money their own way. And that is how you had all of these sometimes things coming together. But we have struggled to bring them together. And all we are asking is for all Ambazonians to cooperate, to help us help ourselves. Help us help ourselves. Pay your taxes, help contribute for the struggle is www.ttof.net to contribute to help. Even the hospitals, humanitarian, or anything is only there. Paying your taxes is www.adla.com. You see, we have to work together to make sure that we have ourselves this homeland. For I tell you most solemnly, ladies and gentlemen, that land is a blessed land. Without the francophones on our neck, we will be holier. Without these parasites called Cameroon on our body, we will be flying. I bet you when time will come, when we are free, you will see, even because the freedom will be for all, you'll see a black leg will ship his or her car from wherever and go to the Tico Wharf, clears the car in a little or nothing, and drive on a smooth road, and he or she will be shouting, how I wish I knew we would have fought this thing long ago when I was still much younger. They are just hanging because they don't know what they are missing. But I want to let them know what they are missing. They are missing a better country. He'll be a black leg hitting his chest on a flyover in Ambazonia, saying that, oh, I'm sorry that I made the mistake of getting this or that soldier killed. You help the Republic talks to kill your own brother. Your brother is no longer here, but you have survived and you are enjoying the independence. You help your brothers to kill because it must come. This freedom must come. There is no way we can share. There's no way we can be together with Cameroon. There's just no way. From the first day to shot the first child, there's no way we can be together. So some of you are saying that, oh, we are tired of this war. We want to go back to normalcy. We want to do it. And then you are instead pouring your anger on those who are defending homeland. Those who took up arms, not because they love arms, But because it was the only way for them to stay alive, you are making a mistake. You are making a very, very big mistake. You want this war to end. You want to go back to normalcy. You want to enjoy. This your anger that you are turning on the guys that are defending homeland, turn it on Cameroon and see this war come to an end. Instead, be shouting that this government in place should come to a dialogue table. Be shouting that this government in place that declared this war in the first place should stop the war. If you spend your time shouting on these poor guys, mechanics and whosoever who pick up arms to defend themselves, you are prolonging the war because they won't hear you and it will not end. The easiest way for this war to end is for everybody, black leg, green leg, purple leg, turn to Cameroon. Turn to Cameroon. Talk to Cameroon. And you see this war come to an end. But you keep dividing yourselves and pointing your anger on people who cannot stop the war, then you don't even want the war to end. Those fine men and women defending Ambazonia don't have the power to stop this war. So please, let us be wise. Let us think twice and make sure that we prepare a better future for our kids and the kids of tomorrow. Because that is the only thing we can give them. That's the only thing we owe them, because we are bringing them to this world and we brought them to this world. You want to see your kids grow and enjoy. In the free Ambazonia, only people from Cameroon will come to work odd jobs in Ambazonia. You will see how Mbunda people will be trying to come and marry a sister to have Ambazonian passport or to have a job in Ambazonia. Our ways are different, I tell you most solemnly. Like I was talking about the West Cameroon system. You know, it was a system of checks and balances. I've spent time with people who worked in the marketing board, people who worked in the PWG, people who worked in PowerCam. I've spent time with most of them. I've listened to them talk. I've listened to them educate me on their life, on how they were working. In those days, the government officials were responsible for everything. You have an accident on the road, the Minister of Roads, of Works, is in trouble. If there is a pothole on the road, they will have to put a sign meters away to warn you that there is a pothole on the road. If you come and you burst your tire on that pothole, you take them to court, or you go to that municipality, to the council of that municipality. They will repair your tire and pay you for time wasted and everything. And before then, you see, they would have sent the responsible authority to make sure that that road is the way a road is supposed to be. That's how they were answerable. And that if a minister was to visit a department, you will just be coming to work in the morning and you'll see the minister sitting in front of your department. The minister don't tell you that I'm coming to visit or to see how people are working so that you prepare goats and chicken and an envelope. No, you just come, and then if you're coming late, you just say, hey, is this the time you're coming to work? You already have a bad record. That is us, and that is what we want to instill. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I have pricked your brains. I think we have grown with this talk together. I think I have touched something in you. I think I have made sure that you rethink your stance. I think I have tickled you a little bit to start to look at an Ambazonia of prosperity, joy, and happiness. I think you would agree with me that if you look at what, from the things I've said about West Cameroon, you agree with me that these people they have underdeveloped us 50-something years backward from what we were. You will agree with me that these people do not see us as equal with them. You agree with me that these people themselves know that these are two different countries. Because if not, the Victoria Deep Sea Port would have been working. Tico International Airport would have been working. Bamenda International Airport would have been working. Menchum Fall would have been supplying us. And all what not. And all what not would have been happening. But they can't. They know that one day we will leave. They know. Why spend money on them, knowing that one day they will leave? These people started telling us from 1993 that they were going to revamp the Victoria Deep Sea Port. 1993. They'll carry some few caterpillars, go and keep there when they are telling us, and then we are happy, and they're writing on newspaper, the Post, the Herald, they were writing that there's work ongoing now in the Victoria Deep Sea Port. And people are happy. The caterpillars will be there for like 5 years, get rotten, they will remove it, bring new one, all of those things. They told us it's not up to 4 years that they were going to make another port in Kribi. They have finished it. It's already working. And now they're building the second section for containers in Kribi. And they'll be finishing it, I think, next month. So, what is wrong? Who are they fooling? You or me? Are they fooling my countryman? Or who are they fooling? Are they fooling all of these boys that they have made them to be much hungry, that they have gone to DDR and they're making stupid audios like insect without brains? Who are they fooling? So I'm just pleading. Let us think. Let us think. It is not for me. It is not for you. It is for 8 million Ambazonians. It is for the future of tomorrow. I also want to drive in a luxurious car in good roads in Ambazonia. I also want to ship in Ambazonia and remove without passing through some kind of corrupt, rotten custom officials like these Francophones. Have you ever shipped a car in Nigeria? It costs nothing and you removed. But you buy a car here, ship to Cameroon, the car is more expensive to remove than the worth of the car in Europe. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So you people can think, and my place is just to make sure that you feel how I feel, you understand what I understand. I just want to make sure that you can place yourself in my position. I want to make sure that we think and grow together. And if you feel that I have touched you and you are a blackleg, there is still room for change. There is still room for us to work together. There is room for us to make that better future for our children. You are not doing it for me. I don't want you to love me. I don't want you to like me. I'm not looking for love. I'm not looking for likes. I'm looking for a homeland. For myself, you, your kids, my kids, and for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, on this note, I will end here. I have a lot that I can say, but I think the studio time is up, and I'll have to say good night. I love you all. Thanking all the Ambazonians who stayed home during the 20th May celebration. You have known what 20th May is all about. It's the day that we were enslaved. And anybody Be you in your CPDM clothes or in your SDF clothes or whatsoever that went out to celebrate that 20th May as an Ambazonian, know that you are like a fool celebrating the day you were made slave. You are a slave celebrating the day they were enslaved. So we have to put an end to slavery. It begins from you, it begins from me, and it begins from all of us. We have to put an end to it, and anything that is one Cameroon, stay away from it. Please help and love our defense forces. If there is anything that has happened to you that is unforgivable, think about 8 million people and forgive and move on. And my lines are always open for any intervention. If there is any situation that you find yourself in, if I'm in a position to help, I always help. Thank you so much, and good night. I love you all. The Barefoot Soldier here. Thank you, studio.
La oh, hulele, 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 nge oh, hulele. Ulele, ulele, ange abaya. Freedom, lanalodium, glorious. Ambazonia, we are crying. We are crying for our freedom. Annexation like its brother apartheid is a crime against humanity. Be it blacks by black, or blacks by white, our father. Nyamo. Ulele. Hulele, hulele. What have we done to the world? To the United Nations, African Union, ECOWAS and Commonwealth, Taroro Nye. Cameroon have turned our fathers into boys. Our mothers to girls. They rape men, kill women and children, our father. La oh. Ulele. The Barefoot Soldiers are in line with Dr. Cho Ayabaye to defend our land, protect our women and children, Taroro Nye. Ehulelelelelele Benedikwao, the biggest bad boss. We are united in this struggle.